Hey guys, so today I'm going to do another Q&A, but I'm actually going to go through my LinkedIn comments the last couple of days. I've got I don't know, I've got a couple thousand followers on there, and the last few posts I had have gone moderately viral, so there's a lot of feedback and comments there. Gonna be getting on a flight to Asia later tomorrow, so I'm a little short on time, hence there's not a fully fleshed out kind of video idea here, but I will get into a normal posting schedule every single day once I'm in Asia. So that being said, let's get into some LinkedIn comments and see who's asking dumb questions, who's talking shit, all that fun stuff. All right, so I'm just going to go through a few posts and click through some questions and kind of get to them as they go. All right, so this one was about Gymshark and their internal linking. I have made several videos, I believe. Well, I probably made one video that demonstrates Gymshark's internal linking. However, I know I've definitely tweeted about it a few times, and it's in my school community, 5-Hour SEO. And I've definitely sent it to a handful of brands I've worked with and consulted on, kind of just explaining why it works so damn well. If you haven't seen it, let me just go ahead and pull it up here. So this is Gymshark's page. They use like internal linking right here to distribute out all the link equity across all these pages. They also do a ton of internal links down here, right? Like this is more internal links than I've ever seen on a collection page. And if you go look at all these rankings, which I've also posted here, they all rank exceptionally well. You can see like number one for sports bra, workout sets, flared leggings, gym bag, athletic shorts, oversized tees. Okay, we're talking like combined 200 plus thousand searches a month, and they rank number one for all of them, and that is just a small sample of it. Okay, now first comment, yeah, simple works. Design and SEO should and can be friends, but I get the feeling the design team left the meeting before it was signed off. This is one comment, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that much. I think designers and CROs, and like, this is not, it's kind of a knock on them. I don't have anything against them personally, but I think design and CRO, yeah, most designers and CROs would hate the way that the internal links for Gymshark look, right? They're just basic text links, okay? Surely someone would want to put like some buttons in there or some colors or something, right? However, this shit works. Like they're ranking number one and they're a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? So it doesn't have to look pretty, okay? It would be cool if it also did, but again, like I don't think anyone watching this video would be upset if you ranked as high as Gymshark did for these kinds of keywords and you were a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't think you'd be upset about that at all, even if it didn't look quote unquote pretty. Okay. He is right about the vanilla Shopify. You would need headless to pull it off, or you could just do like this, could just be like collection slash women's dash shorts. You could do it that way too. I don't recommend even using product tags all that much. Like we just will use standard URLs. So design team left the meeting before it was signed off. Okay, maybe, but like they're driving all this traffic. Yeah, maybe now they go back and look at design. But again, like I guarantee you, if they asked the design team about how this worked or how this looked, it would still be in production and they would not be making the money they're making now. Okay. Next question here. How do you know these internal links are their secret? Couldn't pick one any other aspect of their SEO and claim that part to be the secret ingredient. This one's funny. There's so many people like this on LinkedIn who are always looking for like a got you type of deal. Same thing with YouTube people as well. Lots of comments out there. Just want to point out like one thing you forgot to cover. Okay, sure. Internal linking, like I think he's talking about, like I said, their secret weapon is strategic internal linking. Okay, I am nowhere near naive enough to believe that internal linking is the only reason they're a multi-billion-dollar brand and ranked number one for all of these things. Okay, I'm not saying that. This copy, though, the copy I wrote for this LinkedIn post, however, does incite some clickbait. So, Malte, thank you for taking the bait on this one. The majority of the reason that Gymshark is so successful at SEO is largely a result of their backlink profile. Okay, their content's great, their internal linking is great, but the reason they rank so highly is because they have tons of branded search traffic, a enormously strong backlink profile. However, if they didn't do their internal linking correctly, all these collection pages would not rank nearly as high without these internal links. So, no, it's not the only secret weapon they have. However, if you take it away, guaranteed their traffic would plummet by like nearly half. So, no, I was not on the team at Gymshark SEO, okay? I thought it was a cool way of doing internal linking. I liked that they kind of said fuck off to the design team and just did it anyway. And I like that they're making a lot of money because of it. I think that's a cool part about SEO. Did I consider every possible aspect of their strategy? No. But again, if you take this away, the strategy sucks. So there's that. Let's see what else we got here. There's a lot of AI comments here. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Okay, this one is about pricing for SEO, which I've talked about extensively. Basically, like if you're an SEO freelancer charging less than like $2,000 a month, you're really in a gray zone. And also, if you're a brand looking to pay that much, you're also in a gray zone. I don't think you'll be exceptionally happy with what you find at that cost. Now, I also don't think you're not guaranteed to be happy if you spend $4,000. That's not saying that at all. However, I will say agencies that charge $4,000 are generally worth their cost. There are exceptions. There are exceptions at every price point. But again, there's that. This is like kind of a question, more of a comment, but I talk about this a ton. Okay. Pushing blog traffic for an e-commerce site when your product and category pages have all the real potential feels like one of those SEO gimmicks people still get away with. 100% people still get away with it. I think fortunately, like e-com brands are kind of wising up to the fact that blog traffic's really not going to cut it. However, they kind of just like, if you're not knowledgeable, if you're an e-commerce brand operator, founder, whatever, and you're not that knowledgeable about SEO, don't take this the wrong way, but like your mind is just going to gravitate towards like the next shiny object. Like the most common question I'm getting right now about prospects who want to work with our agency is like, what do you do about AI? Like, how are you ranking in LLMs or using AI content? Like, that's the current shiny object. Don't get me wrong. I believe AI and LLMs will have a very strong presence in our lives and in e-commerce for the next few years, probably for an eternity. However, like the money is still being made on Google. And again, like the money is being made on product pages and collection pages. The reason I know that is because the brands I work with currently consistently spend $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month on Google Ads. They wouldn't be spending near as much money if they didn't believe it worked. Okay, so Google is still a viable channel, and organic is still important. Now, this thing about their spend, they're also spending it to get product page. They're spending it to get people to buy things on their product pages or collection pages or custom landing pages. Very few brands are running paid traffic to a blog unless it's like an advertorial style, and even then, rarely is that a blog. Okay, so yeah, again, pushing blog traffic for an e-commerce site is a waste of time. The two exceptions I will give to the blog traffic rule is if you're a single product brand, the only way SEO will be effective for you is if you create a ton of content throughout the entire funnel to drive people into that singular product. That's the one exception. The other exception is if you're like Gymshark earlier in this video, who already ranks number one for nearly every transactional keyword they want to. Now that they've kind of reached the peak or reached the summit, now they have to go explore other SEO opportunities. And they produce blog content regularly focused on like fitness and exercise and working out. So yeah, their blog traffic is functional. And it serves a purpose. However, they've already climbed the mountain, so to speak. They're already at the top. The only way for them to add more traffic is to go pursue blog keywords. So that's kind of one exception there. This guy says, I get the point, but I still think $1,500 to $2,000 a month can go a long way, especially for smaller brands. Okay, this part is wrong. Guarantee you, like, this guy is probably selling SEO at this point of cost, 1,500, 2,000 a month, and he's trying to defend himself. Again, this is not a knock on this guy personally. It's just kind of the general status of things. Top funnel blogs do not bring in traffic anymore because your traffic from the top of funnel got nerfed like 40% the minute AI was rolled out. Strong middle and bottom funnel content, they guide users towards conversions. Sometimes, like in a very well researched, in a market or a niche that requires a lot of research, yeah, like supplements, for example, anything you consume, like this is important stuff. Retargeting, he gets on a retargeting at the bottom. This is good too. Like this is smart. Again, but like if you're sourcing, you can't do all of these things for $2,000. Like you cannot run top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel content and Google and like retargeting ads through Meta and Google ads for $2,000. So again, like this comment can get thrown out the window because it's just not relevant. Okay. This is funny. In comment section, everyone's like agreeing with you, but no one asking how to deal with it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why no one wants to ask. This guy copied this straight from AI. Shout out Gollum on that one. Let's see what else we got. This is a good one too. Funny when people have a small SEO budget to take on multiple billion euro companies or pound companies. On Google, 2,500 a month isn't going to outrank huge authorities. 100% true. This is actually something that a lot of agencies struggle with, I think, to get right, and also a lot of brands struggle to understand. Okay, like if I want to go outrank Sephora, for example, or Gymshark, I need to have a similar arsenal to Sephora or Gymshark in order to make it happen in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, I don't know what Gymshark or Sephora invest in their SEO, but I would imagine it's somewhere in like the 20 to 50,000 a month range, maybe higher. My retainers don't go that high. If I wanted to work with a brand that wanted to outwork those, I would be pitching those brands at 20 to 50,000 a month in retainer fees. Now, that's a lot of money, of course. The funny thing is when brands tell you they want to rank number one, and they're like, I'm willing to pay. Like I've no joke had a brand like say they wanted to outrank Wayfair, a furniture brand, and they're like, we'll pay you $2,000, and I just like hung up the phone. It's like they are so far away from coming to the table on the conversation that like it wasn't even worth going any further. Like you cannot outrank a brand like Wayfair for $2,000 a month unless you have 20 years to wait, which you don't. So like when you're trying to outrank big brands and big competitive niches, you need a similar arsenal. And that means investing in the right agency, freelancer, team, whatever. That means most likely spending most money on link building because that's the only way you're going to catch super high authority brands in a reasonable time frame. And by reasonable, I would even say like under a year. Okay. If I want to outrank Gymshark, you would need like on all of the, and again, you don't need to outrank all of their keywords. You just need to outrank some of the core, like some of the few that are going to drive traffic and like revenue to your site. But even so, like if I wanted to outrank them for like women's gym shorts or like women's spandex or something, like you need a comparable budget to whatever they're allocating to those pages as well. So yeah, you can get very creative with budget, but you cannot overcome. Like I don't care how good you are as an SEO. Like if you've got a $2,000 budget and the person you're competing against has a $20,000 budget, like you're going to get beat 99 out of 100 times, if not all 100. Some clients even murmur when you charge them $1,000 a month for SEO. Yeah, I am aware. All right, let me look at just more posts here. All right, top of funnel blog content is dead. I did a video about this last week, over the weekend, maybe even. And I posted this 4 weeks ago. But actually, this was on the state of link building I broke down. So 50 to 75%, I think that was the number. 50 to 75% of all citations in LLMs, based on a study of 770,000 citations, I believe, were coming from middle of funnel and bottom of funnel content. Okay, something like product pages, category pages, competitor alternatives, you versus competitors. Like things like that. So very bottom of funnel, middle of funnel focused. Okay. Now I dropped top of funnel about 6 months ago because I didn't want to compete against AI reviews anymore. Okay. So we made the shift to middle of funnel and bottom of funnel about a half a year ago. It's also turned out that we're getting more citations in LLMs because of it, which is nice. Okay. Now I just said in like the last post I was looking at here and reading the comments, top of funnel blog content is like a gigantic waste of e-commerce strategy or e-commerce SEO strategy because like you're already losing 30 to 40% of clicks to AI overview, and the remaining 60 to 70% of the clicks you may be getting are nowhere near purchasing. So I believe it is a very poor waste of your resources to write top of funnel content unless, again, you're like a Gymshark where you've already climbed the summit, or you're starting completely from scratch as a one brand product, and top of funnel is the only way to get traction. Okay. So how do you generate middle of funnel ideas for blogs? I know the Versus template, but don't really know anything else. This guy, Russ Allen, thank you for this. This guy did like cost, pros and cons, is something worth it? Long tail that nobody has written yet. Calculators, infographics, diagrams, DIY, how to and why. Those are some good ideas. I think like the DIY one is tricky. Not tricky. I actually stay away from DIY stuff only for the fact that in e-commerce, like if you're covering any DIY topics, you're kind of nullifying the product you're trying to sell that person. If you're selling like outdoor furniture and you've got a blog post that says like how to build outdoor furniture and it's a good blog, they don't really need your product anymore. So I stick away from DIY stuff. Same with like, I see food and beverage companies do this all the time. Like I see cookie brands will like create DIY cookie recipes, and you're like, well, why would I buy your cookies anymore? You've already given me the recipe. I don't need your cookies. So DIY is something I would avoid. I also think ChatGPT is a really, like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, whatever, is a really good way to go get middle of funnel and bottom of funnel content ideas. You won't find keywords out of there. I think it would be naive to just take those tools at their word for keywords and keyword search volume. But you can get some ideas, and you can start to kind of like just use common sense to pull out keywords. Or like, I'll just ask ChatGPT for like I'll tell it what I sell, and I'll tell it I'm looking, and like, here are my competitors, and I'll tell it like, hey, I'm looking for middle of funnel, top of funnel blog content. Give me an exhaustive list of blog topics, and it'll give you like 100 of them. And what you can do is just like kind of quickly scan through and see which ones you like. And then you can take out the ones you like, plug them into Google, see who ranks for that keyword, like Google, whatever blog topic idea gives you, copy the link from the top result, plug that into SEMrush, and then see what actual keyword they targeted. And now you've got a keyword. Okay. So that's like a good way to do it. It's like a bit of a reverse engineer. Okay. Hari Sundar, even top funnel works if you build a strong authority online and create a personal brand. Okay, well, he's talking like his headline literally says helping B2B brands and agencies scale with AI power. I'm going to assume that says AI powered content. I'm talking about e-commerce here, so I don't give a shit about B2B SEO strategies. They don't function the same. He also goes on to say 80% informational and 20% transactional post. Again, this is e-commerce, not B2B or SaaS. If you're running a SaaS tool or a B2B service, you are looking for demos, free trials, booked calls, things like that. Informational content will work for that because it is a longer sales cycle, because the cost to conversion is much higher. If you're selling in e-commerce and if you do 80% informational and 20% transactional, it's going to take you over a year and a half to see good results, like actual revenue driving results, if you go that route, if you're like the average 7 to 8 figure brand. Okay. Again, traffic does not pay bills in e-commerce. It doesn't even pay bills in B2B, but it gets you a hell of a lot closer to conversions that way. I watched the YouTube video where you say for those who already wrote top of funnel content, no need to delete them, but rather see them as a source of interlinking downwards. Totally correct. If you've already got a ton of top of funnel content, which you probably already do, pretty much every single brand we work with has a shit ton of it. We don't delete them unless they are not performing. Like if they don't have any clicks or impressions in the last 3 months, yes, we will just prune them and redirect them to the most relevant live blog on the site. However, If we've got a top funnel blog that's doing well, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm just not going to really do much to improve it beyond internal linking. And the only reason I'm going to do any internal linking on it is because the internal links from a high traffic top of funnel blog simply give me leverage to rank a product page or collection page higher. Okay. That top funnel blogs don't drive traffic. Like they will convert it sub 0.5% probably. However, if a top funnel blog gets like 1,000 visits a month, an internal link from that blog is exceptionally valuable when pointed at a collection page or a product page. So don't delete them. Just audit your internal links and make sure you're squeezing all of the value you can out of that page. Okay, this guy just took a screenshot of it. Okay, he said our blogging dead. I obviously photoshopped this image. I don't know why this was so surprising to anyone. Okay. Okay, that's just a story about Gemini. I'm not subscribing to your YouTube channel. Lure of vanity traffic metrics most easily achieved through cheaper top of funnel keywords remains very compelling. I would agree. I also think brand who is, if like I've said this before, a lot of brands prospects will just ask me about blog content. Like that's their first question because they think about SEO and blogs as like blogs are the first thing that come to their mind when they think about SEO. However, once I explain to them that the money, like the value in SEO is actually in their product and category pages, and I explain why that is, they never ask me questions about blog content again. And yeah, I would agree that the lure of vanity traffic remains compelling because it's super fucking easy to rank blogs in number one spot. Like less than a month into my SEO career ever, I had like 3 blogs ranking number 1 on Google for like pretty high search volumes. And all I did was like reverse engineer the number 1 article and just made it a little bit better. So yeah, it's very, very easy to rank blogs number 1. However, just because it's easy doesn't mean it's profitable. And going back to the last post I had that we looked at comments on, where I said 1,500 to 2,000 is a gray range for pricing per month. The people charging you 1,500 to 2,000 a month are the people writing blogs because they're cheap to produce now with AI. So yeah, it's compelling if you don't know what you're doing. But if you're a qualified brand, like you didn't get to 7, 8, 9 figures purely on luck, you shouldn't be falling. Like you made a lot of good decisions on the way, evidently. You should not be falling for blog traffic being your savior in SEO. So yeah, I agree it remains compelling. I also think if you're a competent brand owner, you should kind of understand what you're looking for, which is why we only work with competent brand owners. All right. Getting on a flight tomorrow, so the video will be short, and I will be back on a normal schedule by the time I land in Asia.